Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel for the Dark Phoenix Saga Alliance War Showcase. I'm going to walk you through how I completed both paths of this quest. We'll start off with the left side, which features a lot of non-tactic champs. Now the tactic here is basically you need to punish specials to get an unblockable. If you don't punish a special attack, the opponent gains an unblockable here. Now against Nova, you kind of want to consider not using a tactic champ because the unblockable from the tactic is going to seriously gimp your damage here. And I'm going to show you this fight with a tactic champ with Purgatory here, and then later on with a non-tactic champ. But Nova reduces the potency of unblockable attacks by something like 70%. So you can see, like, when I'm unblockable here, my basic attacks are not really doing anything. Still getting some decent damage out of the damage over time, and especially when I have that Fury up from Ebb and Flow Intercept. So, I mean, the fight is certainly doable with a tactic champ, especially if you aren't comfortable, like, dealing with a near permanently unblockable Nova. Then you should just use a tactic champ here. But pretty much anybody works for this fight. Obviously, it's better if you have somebody who is immune to the Falter, so Spiral, really good option, really good tactic champ for this quest in general. Tiger can also do this fight, but again, like pretty much any champ can do this as long as you either have a miss counter or you play around the Falter from Now You See Me. So I think we end up finishing this fight with close to full health or maybe even yellow bar. But yeah, Purgatory, really good tactic champ for these two seasons of Alliance War. If you have her ranked up, she's a really strong option for this fight. All right, moving on to the next shared fight, we have an ELSA BLOODSTONE. And whoever designed this quest, a little bit cheeky with these nodes here. So ELSA BLOODSTONE has the recoil masteries equipped here, which means you absolutely need to use a mutant for this fight. If you do not use a mutant, you're going to take degen for like 20 seconds while she has that bleed ticking on her. So absolutely any mutant works for this fight. There is buffet over time, there is arc overload, but you can easily outdamage those with any like rank 3 or even rank 4 champion here. So Dust is really strong, she hits very hard. Negasonic is good, Jean Grey, Storm, any mutant is going to be fine here. Especially with recoil enabled on her. The more specials you bait, she's going to be dealing 5% of her health flat in damage, which is going to again help you kill her a lot faster here. So I don't even think I get like my standard Dust rotation going in this fight before she dies. So rank 4 Dust, very, very strong. Pretty much just killing her with my basic attacks here. As you can see, very, very easy fight. Probably the easiest one in the quest, to be honest. Alright, again, moving over to the left side path, we have a Prowler here on a node with called Arrogance. So every 10 hits, you're going to trigger a Falter on yourself, and if you miss, he is going to steal your power, I think, is what the Power Thief node is. So really, any miss counter is going to be good here. Serpent, really, really strong. He was banned for a lot of these wars in these two seasons because he just answers so much on this war map. So just get the True Focus up with your special attack, and then you can safely counter his specials, and you can safely counter the Falter from the Arrogance node. Really, really strong option, and good for other fights on the rest of this quest too. Other good options here, Ironheart in Rupture mode can easily counter miss from Prowler and can deal damage to him that he's not immune to, really strong. Vox with Special 2, so just play around the Falter up until you get to that Special 2, fire it off, get that Vigilance buff, and then you'll have that ready for the rest of the fight. But again, any miss counter really works here. Ironheart is useful for another couple fights later on, so if you have her, she's a strong option. Vox, probably not as useful as Ironheart or Serpent for the rest of the quest, but if you're struggling for options, you can use him. You can also just use any champ and just play around the Falter too. It'll be a longer fight, but certainly, just as safe. Alright, moving on, we have NEFARIA on a node called Combat Deja Vu Disintegration, so you need to alternate your basic attacks, otherwise you're going to take Disintegration debuffs, which nobody is immune to. So with Ironheart here, I am in Rupture mode since he is resistant to Incinerate, and I'm just going to parry, light, medium, and then I'm going to spam special 1s. With Ironheart, you don't want to use your special 2 here because of the Safeguard node, so you really want some champ who relies heavily on damage over time here, and you cannot purify his debuffs either. So skill champs, you probably want to avoid skill champs, especially those with access to purify. So any dot type that NEFARIA is not immune or resistant to is going to work here. He is immune to bleed, and he is resistant to shock and incinerate. And he also is resistant to degen, I think, when he is in his Ionic Overcharge node. So you want to stick to like things like Poison, Rupture, Neuroshock. So you see like the alternates I have listed here. I-Bomb should be pretty good. Onslaught should be able to take this fight without any issues at all. Toad, only available as a 6-star, but still should probably be okay for this fight. Or again, if you used Ironheart for the previous fight against Prowler, you can see she works quite well here. And you get a lot of free healing via the Willpower Mastery from his debuffs. And, you know, I'm just straight blocking all of his special ones because I'm not comfortable with the full decks. And I'm just healing up the chip damage. So, you know, a little bit of a slower fight, methodical fight with Ironheart, but she is really, really good. I preach a lot about how Ironheart is a top-tier war attacker, and she just makes so many things so easy. Especially a fight like this. So we've built up 30 plus of our Rupture debuffs. They are ticking him down quite nicely here. Just sticking to, again, that parry, light, medium, and then we can go into the Striker or the Special One and repeat as necessary. So yeah, with Safeguard, you know, it's kind of necessarily a long fight with anybody, depending on the strength of your dots. But yeah, really, really strong option. Pretty easy fight. I think we YOLO him there, and down he goes. All right, moving on, we have a Spider Ham, and you're going to start with a bar of power in this fight, so you really need somebody who has quick access to an evade counter. So again, I'm using Serpent here since I already had him on the team, and this is going to allow me, the Power Start 1 is going to allow me to get that True Focus up immediately, which means that I'm going to have an evade counter for the rest of the fight as long as I don't get hit. Now, on this node, if you get too many debuffs on you, you do go, or he goes unblockable, rather. One really nice thing is that Serpent is immune to heal block. So he doesn't get the heal block from the node, which means the power stings and the taunt that you're going to get on you from both Spider-Ham and from the node will end up not triggering his unblockable. So normally, if you use a champion who is not immune to heal block, you'll get the heal block on you at the start of the fight. The Special One has the taunt. You'll get the Power Sting from the node. That's 3 debuffs, and then Spider-Ham will be unblockable for the rest of the fight because the unblockable only goes away when all debuffs are gone, and there's no way for you to get rid of the heal block. So if you have somebody who is either immune to heal block or who can shrug off the heal block at the start of the fight, that is your ideal option here. Now, if you are comfortable playing around like a permanently unblockable Spider-Ham, that's great. In that case, you would really just want to have like any evade counter. So the alternate champs I have listed here, Deathless Thanos has access to the Panic debuff. He's really good here. Koye, really, really strong, very quick champ here for damage. Obviously Venom or any other symbiote champ with access to anti-spider evade abilities is also going to work quite well here. Now you can see this is taking quite a bit, and that's really just because of the taunt. The taunt is reducing your damage by a pretty significant amount. I think it's like 30 or 40% maybe. Plus I'm having to play around the power stings. So I can't just spam special attacks when I want to. And at times you can see he's becoming quite uncooperative with his special attacks, and I'm having difficulty getting him to throw his special one. So all those factors kind of come together and make this a little bit of a longer fight. But if you're using Serpent in this fight and you end up tanking some Power Sting damage, it's really fine. Because again, since he's immune to that heal block, you can safely heal up from the taunt, from the Power Sting, from the node. So taking like a Power Sting damage on a special is not really going to hurt you in the long run. And I don't think I use Serpent for any fight after this. So again, as long as he comes out of it, with more than 0% health, it's pretty much a win. I don't think I have anything else to say about this fight. Yeah, Serpent is really, really strong option. Again, that heal block immunity is really, really nice to have. But there are a lot of very good options, and at the end of the day, an unblockable Spider-Ham is probably fine as long as you have an evade counter, and there are plenty of good evade counters in the game here. Fire off this special 2. I don't remember if this kills him or not. Just shy of killing him, but he throws the special right away, and we can go finish him off with a basic combo. All right, moving on, we have this Bastion on a Node 43 mini with Incinerate and Shock. One thing that you cannot do is bring in Odin for the Shock resistance pre-fight, because at the start of the fight you're going to notice we're getting Fate Sealed, which means that all those Odin pre-fight buffs will be gone. So that includes the armor up buff that Ironheart needs for the the Incinerate immunity. So we're just kind of playing it safe and slow there, parrying, waiting for our armor up to come back. And now we're waiting out the shock phase since we have no resistance to shock. So the idea here with Ironheart is slow play it at the start of the fight, wait for your armor up to come back, then you need to wait for the shock phase to end. Once you have the armor up and he's back in the Incinerate phase, you can go back in and go nuts. Again, you want to use the Rupture pre-fight here for maximum damage. Bait out whatever special you want. I don't really know or are comfortable with like the full dexes for Bastion specials. You'll see me attempt them here. There, I got a full dex on the special one, but like special 1, special 2, it's pretty much safe to take them both on the block. It doesn't really matter. Just again, similar to the Nefaria fight, just want to play this like very intentional, very methodically. It is going to take like a minute or so, but you can see like the ruptures are dealing plenty of damage here, and he doesn't really have anything that can harm us. If you do let the aggression prowess node get out of control, taking specials on the block can hurt, but it's pretty easy to punish his specials no matter what. And with Ironheart, we also have access to that Invalidate on our heavy attack if we need it. So if we let him get too many prowess, we can just parry heavy and remove them all, depending on how many of those rupture debuffs we have on him here. Yeah, so very straightforward fight. Other good options here. Maestro is immune to both the Incinerate and Shock. He can definitely take this fight. Void can also take this fight. Again, similar to Ironheart, you can only attack during the Incinerate phase, but he has a lot of access to damage over time. Count Nefaria is immune, or resistant rather, to Incinerate and Shock. Can probably do that fight as well. Alright, moving on to another hazard shift fight. We have a KORG here on node 44 with Poison and Rupture, and I'm going to be using Dust here. Dust is immune to Poison, not immune to Rupture, so most of your options for this fight, you're only going to have access to one of the immunities that you need here, which means you really just need to play around Rupture since it's the less common immunity. So I think there are very few champions that have access to both. Nico is a brand new champ. She has access to a pre-fight that enables you to take this fight. I actually did take a KORG on this node on an off-season war map with Nico. It works fine. A little bit more challenging perhaps because KORG is a tactic defender here, so he will be unblockable a lot. But Nico also has access to the halt on her special 1, which means that she can just special intercept with a special 1. And if you've been dexing and he goes unstoppable, it should be fine. Now with Dust, I don't really play this as good as I could have. And I don't pay a lot of attention to the Rupture mode, so you can see me taking like a lot of Rupture damage, a lot of chip damage, and I'm kind of mostly ignoring his Rock Shield too, so I'm like freely hitting into it with my medium attacks and triggering a lot of Thorns damage, but like rank 4 Dust, super tanky, a lot of glancing, a lot of physical resistance, so I knew that even with like sloppy play, I was probably going to get out of here with a solo, and thus I did. His Rock Shield against Dust is going to be up more often than not because her debuffs are going to trigger additional rock stacks, so it's just something you just kind of have to accept. Other good options, again, you want somebody ideally who is immune to the poison. Emma Frost, Iceman. Onslaught can also do this fight too if you just stick to his non-contact attacks. Alright, moving on to the SERSI boss, and I'm going to be using Nico here. Nico was not available during these seasons, obviously she's brand new. But I did want to test her out. She's not a tactic attacker, so SERSI will be going unblockable after all her specials. But my thinking was, without access to SERSI's buffs, she basically has no threat in this fight, and Nico actually does quite well here. This is like a 1 minute and change fight with her. So the goal in this fight is just to keep buff immunity active for as long as possible. That's going to turn off her regen, turn off her glancing, and all those transmutation buffs as well, turn off her furies. So I do lose my buff immunity there, so now what I'm going to do is build back up to my special 2 and try my best to avoid letting her use her heavy attack, because that's how she's going to get that glancing buff back. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to trigger it from a basic attack here. So we land a nice intercept, fire off the special 2, this re-triggers the buff immunity, we get some additional poisons from our SIG, so we've got 11 poisons on her now, absolutely melting her away here. And now we've kind of got her where we want her. We can refresh the buff immunity with our special 1. We trigger invisibility here. So we're going to take this entire special 2 while we're invisible, counter with some heavies in the corner to get our furies going. And now she's pretty much dead. We've got control of this fight. Fire off another special 1, to refresh the buff immunity at the last possible second, getting that nice burst damage from the special one. We have 20 poisons on her, and she is absolutely melt. So that is a rank 4 SERSI boss gone in about 60 seconds or so. Alright, that completes the left side of the path. Let's go ahead and move on to the right side path. And again, for fights where I'm using the same attacker, I'm going to speed them up. For the shared fights where I'm using a different attacker, I will show you them in their totality. So we used Purgatory against this Nova on the first path. We're going to switch to a non-tactic attacker because again, I wanted you to see how it looks with both champs. Now with Serpent, obviously Serpent has access to unblockable, so you don't want to do like the hit into his block with a special attack, because that will pause your unblockable. When you're ready to use a special attack, you just want to do like a full 5-hit combo and chain it into the special attack as you would normally. And again, that's going to avoid the unblockable, and that's going to avoid the damage penalty that you get from attacking him with an unblockable attack here. Now, like I said earlier, you can really use anybody for this fight, tactic or non-tactic, as long as you are willing to play around the falter. I hate playing around the falter, especially when there are other things in the fight to pay attention to, and that's kind of why I went with Serpent here, because once you get that true focus up from using a special attack, you don't have to worry about the falter at all. You can focus on intercepting him. Intercepting him in this fight, you're going to have to do it quite a bit because he's going to auto-block you at times. And since you're using a non-tactic attacker here, Nova is going to be unblockable after every one of the specials because you don't have the tactic to prevent it. So as long as you are comfortable fighting an unblockable Nova, if you're properly cycling his specials, which is not that difficult because he has that passive power gain whenever he dashes forward, his specials are pretty easy to dex and punish as well. As long as he cooperates and doesn't continually dash forward until he gets a special 3, you should be fine here. Yeah, so again, longer fight with Serpent, very safe fight though. Again, alternates for this fight, Spiral will work fine. I have a Spiral. I don't particularly enjoy using her, but she is very, very strong for this fight and for this quest, and if you have a Spiral ranked up, you should definitely use her. She's very, very good. Tigra, again, a very good option for this fight and for subsequent fights. Really good for the SERSI boss as well. But, kind of as I've continued to beat the drum here, any hashtag Coda champ is going to work here. And in fact, any champ in general is going to work here. The only reason you would want to avoid using a tactic champ is if you want the fight to be a little bit faster, because the Coda champs will trigger that unblockable, and then you're going to have like the damage penalty here. But as you can see, very easy fight with Serpent. We've got his Furies ramped, and we're kind of just doing enough damage even without the Fury from Ebb and Flow that he's going to be down. So really, really strong option for him. Going to go ahead full combo. I went for the intercept. He did not cooperate, so we're just going to fire this into his block, and again, through the damage penalty, we go ahead and finish him off with that striker. Alright, moving on to ELSA BLOODSTONE once again. We're going to be using Dust here, so I'm going to speed this fight up. It's very similar to the previous one that I took on the left side path. Any mutant champ works fine here. You saw I had Negasonic on my team. I could have used her here, but I wanted her healthy for the LUMATRIX, which we'll talk about in just a moment here. Out-damaging the Arc Overload, out-damaging the Buffet, and the Recoil Masteries helping us out big time here. Just, again, any mutant to avoid the degen from ELSA BLOODSTONE using that Double Edge Mastery. Alright, we're going to the Hitmonkey on the right side path here. Again, you can use pretty much any tactic champ. The danger here is, of course, you need to be knocking Hitmonkey down, so he's going to be triggering the Purify, he's going to be triggering the Evade, so pretty much any champ who counters Evade and has the bonus of like a passive stun is going to be really good here. Now, little known ability from Negasonic is that she automatically reduces the evade chance of skill champs by 100%. So just by existing in this fight, she turns off Hitmonkey's evade completely. And she has access to the passive stun, which makes her a top tier option for this fight. Now, getting the unblockable to trigger with a tactic attacker on Hitmonkey's special 1 is very difficult. You have to dex that last hit very early, otherwise he's going to recover and he's still going to get the unblockable. So it takes a lot of practice to get that, but otherwise a pretty easy fight. Alright, moving on, we have this KNULL here on node 22. You can pretty much use any champion you want here. KNULL is a tactic defender, so you want a tactic attacker, but anybody works fine. He's going to be getting Furies from the node because he places debuffs on you, and you're pretty much always going to have enough for that steady build-up node. So yeah, just bring in your favorite Mystic attacker. Mutants will work here too. I prefer to push Null to a special 2, of course, because it's much easier to dex. You'll be getting additional debuffs on you whenever he uses a special attack, but you can punish his specials to gain that unblockable. That should be easier, make it easier for you rather to push him to that special 2 when you have access to that unblockable. So just kind of repairing here to keep Kushala's blessings up. I really enjoyed using Kushala for this fight because she was banned and then blacklisted through both of these seasons, so we didn't get to use her like a single time, which is really nice to get to use her in a war type setting here. So we've got a ton of incinerates on him. He's absolutely melting, firing off this special 1, and that pretty much just ends it for him, and he's going to die mid special 2 there. Really easy fight. Alright, this is probably the trickiest fight for most people. We have a LUMATRIX on Mixmaster and ticking Soul Bomb, so you can't parry too much. You have to alternate your attacks. If you bait out a heavy attack, he gets that evade. If he fires the special 1, he goes invisible. So a lot of stuff at play here. Now again, Negasonic, probably the best option for this fight because she completely turns off his ability to evade just by existing in this fight. Now, because you don't want to be parrying too much, you need to be baiting heavies. He gains that evade charge when he charges his heavy attack, but we don't really care because, again, we've turned off his evade just by existing in the fight. Now, you want to repeatedly push him to 2 bars of power. He can choose to use either special attack, so if he uses the special 1 like he did there, you just need to back off, wait out the invisibility, wait out the unblockable, and then continue by baiting out heavies, pushing him to the special 2. The special 2, if he decides to throw that instead, is very easy. It's like a Black Bolt style special 2, and you can easily punish it and get that unblockable for yourself. Going into the Striker here, firing off the special 2, and he doesn't really have a very large health pool, so Negasonic puts in some really good work here. Any other option who counters evade is going to work here. Iceman should work fine. Strife counters evade on his medium attacks. Apocalypse will eventually turn off the evade, rely on his tankiness. Northstar has access to that slow. He could probably work as well, but if you have a Negasonic, I think she's the best option for that LUMATRIX. Alright, moving on, we have a Medusa on one eye open. This is kind of like a trick placement here, because with Medusa you automatically think, okay, I need a counter to her auto block, I need a counter to keep her Furies off her, but in this tactic you don't need either of those. As long as you are able to punish her special attacks, you get that unblockable for yourself, and then she cannot auto block an unblockable attack here. So any tactic attacker is going to work fine here. Just don't parry her, because the damage that you deal while she's stunned is going to be reflected back to you. So, if I recall correctly, she gets extremely uncooperative, and I end up having to take a bunch of block hits in the corner here. So I'm trying to get her to throw this special 1. She is not cooperating at all. And then I think I take a heavy to the face here in the corner. No, I push her to the special 2, and then I get parried, and I still can't get her to throw the special attack. So I just YOLO a special 1, and I'm trying to do my best here. Finally, she throws the special 2, but I'm still able to counter it. I get access to my unblockable attack, and now we're kind of back in business here. She is being much more cooperative. She does have the power efficiency node, so a lot of specials in this fight, but again, that kind of works in your favor, because the more specials that she's throwing, the more opportunities you then have to punish them, and then you're going to have pretty much permanent access to that unblockable, which means her Furies, her auto block is really not a concern at all. Now, I think I rely too much on my special 1 in this fight. I probably should have gone to the special 2 instead, because I think at some point she gets immune to Nullify. Yeah, so right here, towards the end of the fight, I'm like, well, I should probably just stick to the Soul Barb instead of the Incinerates from the Nullify on the special 1. But yeah, again, any tactic champ works here. Doesn't have to be a Mystic. You can use Mutant champs. I probably could have gone in here with Dust or with Negasonic and had very similar results. Just keep knocking her down in order to remove protection. Remember, when protection comes back, it's going to remove the debuff, so if you have an attacker who relies on passive damage, like a Negasonic, if you can get the passive incinerates with Kushala, that's going to be, just make things a little bit faster here. But a lot of attackers are going to be safe for this fight, and don't worry about her auto block at all. Alright, we're back up to KORG, and again, I'm going to take this fight again with Dust, and we're going to speed this up. I think this attempt was a little bit better than the last one. Kind of being aware, more aware of the Rupture mode here, and I think I finished this one with a bit more health than I did in the first path here. So, yeah, just, you know, doing standard Dust rotation, building up as many of those sand passives as I can. If his shield is up when we get the special 3, it doesn't matter because the special 3 will remove his shield completely. So we're just kind of waiting till he has low power, firing off the special 3, and then we're going to special intercept into the special 2. And then he does not get stunned there because he has stun immunity. So we aren't able to just dash right in, but we can go in with a special 1. And now we've kind of got our damage ramped up, and we're just kind of like just, you know, being very aggressive here, maintaining that unblockable from punishing his special attacks. That was a nice first hit of the special 1 before the rock shield came back up, and we've lost our sandstorm, so now we're just kind of, you know, waiting out the rupture phase, back into poison phase here, and building back up some additional sand debuffs. Probably should not have thrown that special 2. That really didn't do anything here other than remove his rock shield. But we're at the end of the fight here, about 50% health remaining. Yeah, again, Onslaught really good for this. Emma, Nico, all solid options for that fight. And then last but certainly not least, we have one more go at the SERSI boss, and I'm just going to go in here with Nico again. You saw I had Kushala there as backup, but I decided that since Nico worked so well for this boss the first path, I wanted to try using her again. Pretty much the same fight as it was in the first path. Just keep the buff immunity active, refresh it with the special 1, use your invisibility to tank specials here like I'm going to do here. If she decides to hit into your phase with basic attacks, you're fine, no worries there. So that's pretty much it for the Alliance War Showcase walkthrough. I think overall this will probably be the trickiest Alliance War Showcase for the majority of people. The SERSI boss is pretty tricky without the right champs. That LUMATRIX fight is very difficult without the right champs. So I hope this was helpful to you. If it was, please leave me a comment below. And if you would please be so kind as to hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Share this video with your friends, with your Alliance mates, anybody who might be struggling with this quest. And as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time.